Elon Musk's electric vehicle company Tesla has recently come out and stated that you can now start paying for any of their Tesla models using Bitcoin. Let's talk about that. How's it going, guys? Ryan here and welcome back to another investing slash cryptocurrency video, and today we are talking about Elon Musk's company Tesla now allowing you to purchase any of their Tesla models using Bitcoin. But before we get into that, guys, please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm so much, and subscribe for more investing, cryptocurrency, stock and wealth management related content. I'd love to know your thoughts on this new revelation from Tesla in the comments section below. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. For everyone who is an Elon Musk fan, they know he absolutely loves the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. So much so that his company Tesla earlier in this year bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And we thought at the start, well, what is the purpose of this? Is this just for an investment or is it for something else? Well, turns out it actually is not only just for an investment, and now we've found out the reason for it is due to the fact that the company is going to start accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for their Tesla cars, which is absolutely fantastic, not only for consumers, but is an incredibly smart business decision and investment when you look a bit deeper into it. First and foremost, how does this all work? Well, if you go onto the Tesla website and go to order a vehicle, you'll see the various different payment options, and the ones listed with Bitcoin are those products which are Bitcoin payment eligible. And effectively what you do is click on that, and then they will give you a rate at which Bitcoin is equivalent to US dollars. And it's at that rate at which you need to transfer the amount of Bitcoin to Tesla at the specified rate. So it's actually down to the users themselves as opposed to the company defining a set amount of Bitcoin. And due to the nature of Bitcoin, the price is consistently changing over time. So if you get it wrong, that means you've paid Tesla incorrectly. And obviously you've got the complexities then of using your Bitcoin wallets and those sort of things in order to transfer money to Tesla. So the onus is therefore on the actual users themselves to make sure they pay the corresponding amount of money for their Tesla to what was specified at the time of purchase. So that begs the question, what happens if you pay the incorrect amount of Bitcoin to Tesla? Well, there are a few different scenarios that can occur. If you overpay Tesla, then your order's still going to obviously go through because you paid them enough money, but they may not be able to reimburse you the amount of money that you overpaid. So you really need to be careful there and make sure you don't accidentally, put an extra or a less zero on and pay them 100% more than what you're supposed to. You need to make sure you're paying that correct amount of Bitcoin to Tesla. Then alternatively, what can happen if you don't pay enough money? Well, quite simply, Tesla is not going to provide you with the vehicle until you pay the correct amount. And by that point in time, due to the nature of Bitcoin, it may be fluctuating in value. So that means instead of paying X amount up front, you may have to pay an additional amount if the price of Bitcoin has risen, or a less amount potentially if the price of Bitcoin has decreased for that remaining amount of value. Furthermore, as many people who are aware who deal with cryptocurrency, there are also fees associated with every transaction that occurs. So that means every time you have to potentially pay Tesla because you've provided them with the incorrect amount of money, you have to pay that fee. Now, fortunately, a lot of people's wallets actually calculate that and price it into your transaction, but in certain circumstances they do not, and you'll have to make sure you pay the correct amount of money. Now for the bad news, if you don't live in the continental US, that means you don't have availability to this feature right now. So for myself, for instance, I live in Western Australia and I am unfortunately unable to pay for anything on the Tesla website with Bitcoin. But obviously this is something that will likely change in the very near future. But obviously when you're just starting out something new of this scale, you want to keep it in a controlled and maintainable environment before you start to expand. So within the coming months and certainly within the coming years, imagine that you could see Bitcoin being used as one of the main payment mechanisms for Teslas in the future. Now it's all well and good to talk about Tesla and how cool this feature is to be able to actually use your Bitcoin to pay for something with the Bitcoin itself, but let's look at the investment side, and this is really, in my opinion, where the smarts comes in. So obviously, as we mentioned at the start of the video, and if you've seen some of my previous videos, you would know that Bitcoin has been purchased by Tesla in the past. In fact, to the tune of $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, which is a crazy amount. Now, not only was that a smart investment due to the fact that it's obviously risen purely due to that news, plus many other factors, and is now sitting roughly at all-time highs, so they've already made a significant amount of money on their initial investments, which, if I recall, it was in the 40,000 sort of range of the price of Bitcoin. Effectively, what is happening now is people are going to be paying for their vehicles using Bitcoin. And if the link hasn't already occurred in your mind, the link is that this means the investment is coming in on its own accord. So basically, they're receiving Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin itself can just sit there and then increase in value over time as an investment. Unlike normal currency, which reduces in value due to inflation, the currency they're receiving, Bitcoin, is actually going to increase in value over time, and as we can see, that can be very, very significantly. So from an investment standpoint, Tesla are effectively making dividends on the money they are bringing in due to the sales of their vehicles in a very, very big way. Potentially, if Bitcoin's price doubles and someone's paid for Bitcoin for their paid with Bitcoin for their Tesla today, and it doubles, so let's say the Bitcoin price goes well over 100 grand, then effectively what's happened is they've doubled the amount of money that they've received for a Tesla. So effectively they've sold one Tesla for the price of two, which is absolutely insane when you think about it, and it is a fantastic investment and it's a fantastic way to make money. I'm speechless now because it's just actually quite genius the way that they've managed to pull this off. I'm sure as well going forward we're going to see Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general becoming a lot more significant in the mainstream world, which means the buying power that Tesla is going to have throughout various different markets in the world and potentially throughout Elon Musk's other companies as well is going to be significant, purely due to the fact that they are going to have an absolute ton of it. Obviously they spent $1.5 billion worth of it, but that could in itself go up significantly. Alternatively, you have the risk that the price of Bitcoin will go to zero. It's a risk, and as unlikely as it is still a possibility. It's an investment, it's a currency. It can fluctuate like anything else. So what you're going to see is either massive gains over time, which is probably what I expect to happen, or you're going to see a decrease in value and people will start seeing it as a poor investment. Depending on obviously the outcome is how people are going to perceive it a decade down the track, and either Elon Musk and Tesla have made a very smart decision here, or they've made a very poor decision if unfortunately the price of Bitcoin crashes, but I doubt that will occur. That wraps up today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments section below on Tesla really getting into Bitcoin, especially with a payment mechanism for it. If you did enjoy today's video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more of this type of content. As I said at the start of the video, We talk about cryptocurrency, the stock market, wealth management, all that sort of really cool stuff. And I hope you get some value out of it. And with that, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.